The front door chimed, a soft, electronic sound that cut through the cavernous silence of the foyer. A figure emerged from the evening gloom, framed by the recessed lighting. He wore a suit tailored with surgical precision, the expensive fabric draping a formidable physique. His dark hair, swept back, had a few stray strands that fell across his brow, shadowing his intense eyes and lending him an air of commanding maturity. The whole tableau, under the warm gallery lights, was striking. I stared, transfixed, at the crimson number floating above Julian Asher's head. -99. My lips felt dry, and I unconsciously bit the lower one before my voice came out, a thin thread of sound. "Brother." Julian's gaze lifted. He shrugged off his jacket with a fluid motion, his tone mild, like that of an older brother indulging a younger one. He asked why Caleb wasn't out with his friends tonight. I moved forward, my hand outstretched to take the coat, an instinctual gesture of a younger sibling. But Julian sidestepped, a movement so subtle it was almost imperceptible. The number above his head flickered. -100. My pupils contracted. I retracted my hand, feeling foolish. A faint, bitter scent of whiskey reached me, and I seized on it as a distraction. I mentioned that he'd been drinking and that I had prepared some hot tomato soup for him, telling him it would help. A flicker of cold surprise crossed Julian's features before vanishing. He smiled, a practiced, easy thing. He thanked Caleb and said he'd have it later, gesturing for him to just leave it on the counter. I pushed the heavy ceramic bowl across the marble island toward him, my voice flat. I told him to remember to drink it, then announced I was heading to bed. Julian nodded, his smile unwavering. I turned and walked toward the grand staircase. My ascent was sluggish, my feet dragging on the plush runner. On the final step, I paused, peering cautiously through the wrought iron balusters. I watched as Julian, my brother, carried the bowl of soup to the sink and poured its contents down the drain. Every last drop. My hand, resting on the smooth oak banister, clenched into a tight fist. I returned to my room, feeling hollowed out. A disembodied awareness, a part of my own consciousness that was not my own, made itself known. "Now do you believe it?" It seemed to ask. I argued back in the silence of my mind, a desperate, final struggle. But he has always been so good to me. He gets me whatever I want. He cleans up my messes. He never forgets my birthday. The awareness was clinical. Julian has an executive assistant. The things you want are purchased by her. The trouble you cause is handled by his legal team. Think about it, Caleb. When has he ever personally intervened? He doesn't even know the date of your birthday. I buried my face in my knees, my throat tight. I asked if -100 meant he disliked me very much. The voice inside me shifted, taking on a tone of icy, mournful finality. It isn't dislike. It's revulsion. Julian and I were not brothers by blood. We were a blended family. My mother was our father's first love. After Julian's mother passed away, my mom, with a 6-year-old me in tow, married into the Asher dynasty. Mr. Asher, a man who loved my mother deeply, extended that affection to me. He doted on me, even gave me his name, changing it from Caleb Vance to Caleb Asher. In contrast, his relationship with his own son, Julian, was one of severe expectations and scarce affection. This imbalance fostered in me a certain entitled arrogance, which only grew under Julian's seemingly tolerant gaze. After my mother succumbed to a long illness, Mr. Asher's health declined rapidly. Soon, it was just Julian and me left in the sprawling estate. In my narrative, we were brothers, companions who had grown up weathering the same storms. But from Julian's perspective, the story was entirely different. His mother had withered from depression, a casualty of his father's emotional neglect. Less than a year after her death, his father married the woman he'd always loved, bringing her and her parasite son into their home. This woman had stolen his mother's husband. This child had stolen his father. Considering this, It was impossible for Julian to feel any brotherly affection for me. The only reason he hadn't cast me out was the 11% stake in Asher Industries my stepfather had left me in his will. So Julian had chosen a more insidious method of revenge, to ruin me through indulgence. He offered endless latitude, never guidance. When I got into fights, he handled the fallout without a word of reprimand. When I drank, drag raced, and stayed out all night, he never once tried to stop me. He was molding me into a useless, profligate heir. It was both his vengeance and his strategy to reclaim control of the company. I rubbed my eyes, which felt gritty with unshed tears. I asked the silent presence what would happen if I couldn't raise Julian's favorability. The voice grew colder still. He will destroy you. The next morning, I descended the stairs feeling drained. Julian was already at the dining table, impeccably dressed, reading the Wall Street Journal. The glaring -100 hovered above his head like a storm cloud, and a primal fear coiled in my stomach. I took a seat at the far end of the long mahogany table, keeping my distance. Julian lowered his coffee cup. He asked why I wasn't eating, offering to have the chef changed if I didn't like the food. I had, in fact, been notoriously picky and capricious, getting chefs fired on a whim. I hastily swallowed a piece of toast and forced a rigid smile. I assured him it wasn't that I liked it. Looking at the extravagant spread, a full American breakfast alongside continental pastries, I felt a pang of guilt. I told him he didn't need to have breakfast prepared for me anymore, that I would just eat at the campus dining hall from now on. Julian raised an eyebrow, his expression one of polite concern. He questioned my sudden change of heart, reminding me that I had once said the food there was unfit for consumption. I faltered. That did sound exactly like something I would say. I mumbled a weak excuse about them having hired a new chef and the food being much better now. After the meal, Julian left for his downtown office, and I for the university campus. My best friend, Leo, greeted me with a look of utter shock. He declared that hell must have frozen over for the great Caleb Asher to actually show up for a 9A lecture on time. I was in no mood for his usual banter and tried to walk past him. But Leo slung an arm over my shoulder, pulling me to a halt. He noted my lethargic appearance and proposed a solution. A new club had opened downtown with some wild new attractions, and he would take me there tonight to cheer me up. Skipping classes, frequenting clubs, playing video games, late-night drives, that was the rhythm of my life. A life of hedonism becomes a habit, a slow decay of body and mind. Leo knew all the best places, all the right people. We were, in many ways, kindred spirits in delinquency. Honestly, I was tempted. The emotional turmoil of the last few days made me crave the oblivion of alcohol. The inner voice spoke, sharp and sudden. Leo reports to your brother. I froze. Then, with a sudden movement, I reached into my backpack, pulled out a nearly pristine textbook, and slammed it down on my desk. I announced my intention to study. I somehow survived a full day of classes, my head throbbing. I managed to slip away before Leo could corner me again. Late that night, I crouched on the landing of the main staircase. Julian seemed to be drunk, slumped against the wall in the foyer, motionless. I had never seen him this way. He was the epitome of cold self-control, rarely showing any weakness. The voice urged me onward. Go on. This is a perfect opportunity. I was afraid. If even Leo was Julian's man, then I was terrified of the depth of my brother's machinations. Yet, the sight of him collapsed in the entryway was too jarring to ignore. I wiped my face, stood up, and walked over to him. I gently shook his sleeve, urging him to wake up, him that he'd catch a cold sleeping there. My hand was violently thrown off. A red mark instantly bloomed on my pale skin. Julian's eyes opened. The alcohol seemed to have momentarily stripped away his mask. He looked at me, his voice a guttural snarl. Get away from me. The raw loathing in his eyes was a physical blow, twisting deep inside my chest. It tightened, and tears welled up, spilling down my cheeks. A chaotic mix of hurt, grievance, and fear overwhelmed me. I took a deep breath, roughly wiped my face with the back of my hand, and, gritting my teeth, began to drag him toward a guest room. His nearly 6'3" frame was a dead weight that almost made me collapse. As I maneuvered him through the doorway, my foot caught on the frame, sending a sharp pain through my shin. Julian's hair was disheveled, giving him a softer look, but the deep crease between his brows suggested he was far from comfortable. I managed to remove his jacket and shoes, then wiped his face with a damp cloth and covered him with a blanket. I limped out of the room. I returned with a pitcher of water, a glass, and an assortment of pills from the medicine cabinet, hangover remedies, stomach settlers, antacids, piling them all on the nightstand. Then I hobbled out again. After I quietly closed the door, the man who was supposed to be deeply asleep opened his eyes. They were perfectly clear, all traces of intoxication gone. 3 days later was Julian's birthday. I had procured his gift months ago, a rare, sealed copy of a vintage comic book, a collector's item I had gone to great lengths to find. Now, I lacked the courage to give it to him. I didn't want it to be another tool in a desperate campaign for his approval. I tucked it away on the highest shelf of my bookcase, hidden behind a row of encyclopedias. The inner voice spoke, its tone melancholic. It's for the best. It would have ended up in the trash anyway. The Julian from that drunken night was the real one. The memory of his cold, disgusted gaze left me breathless every time it surfaced. I heard myself ask the voice a calm, detached question. If I stop trying to gain his favor, if I give him back the Asher Industries shares and leave this family, will he still try to kill me? There was a long silence, followed by a sigh so faint it was almost imaginary. In 2 weeks, Julian will have an accident during his ski trip in Aspen. If you can save him, you might have a chance. Julian was an avid skier. Every winter, he would take time off to go to his private chalet in Colorado. Influenced by him, I had also practiced for years and was quite skilled, but I had never gone with him. This time, I shamelessly pleaded. I begged him to take me, promising to be good and not cause any trouble. Julian half closed his cool eyes, a look of resigned exasperation on his face as he nodded. But I knew he wasn't happy. I gave a small, bitter smile to myself. The favorability score had probably dropped again. We were at one of Aspen's most exclusive resorts. I stuck to Julian like glue, following him everywhere he went. I was as quiet as a mouse, terrified of annoying him. When he went up the mountain to ski, I waited for him in the heated SUV. Here, we ran into Marcus Thorne, Julian's college friend and business partner. The two arranged to ski Eagles Peak, a notoriously challenging backcountry trail. As Julian and Marcus gathered their gear, both tall, handsome men looking striking in their ski attire, I remained in the vehicle. Marcus glanced at the SUV and teased Julian. He asked if this was his famous prodigal brother, commenting that he seemed different from the rumors. Quieter, more of a clinger. Julian zipped up his jacket, turning his head slightly. His gaze passed through the tinted window. The boy sat obediently in the back seat, the top half of his pale face obscured by a red knit beanie. His cheeks were puffed out as he blew on a cup of hot cocoa he held in his hands, resembling a soft, harmless little animal. Julian paused, his expression unreadable, before turning and striding away. Marcus hurried to catch up, calling for him to wait. I finished the sweet cocoa and asked the system if today was the day. It was a question I had asked every morning, and the answer was always the same: uncertain. Wait. So for the past few days, I had not left Julian's side. According to the information from the system, Julian would get into trouble because of a malfunctioning location beacon, which would severely delay rescue efforts. I had already made extensive preparations to ensure the ski patrol could reach him immediately. By the time I slowly finished my drink, the weather outside had turned. The world became a disorienting expanse of white. The landscape lost all its shadows and contours, swallowed by a blinding, milky haze. Following the system's directions, I pushed forward against the wind. The blizzard, a true whiteout, stung my cheeks. The weather was far worse than I had anticipated. My goggles kept fogging up. Julian was supposed to be nearby, but I couldn't find him. Time slipped away. In a panic, I ripped off my goggles. Finally, I spotted a small patch of blue against the snow. I fought my way through the gale, half stumbling, and dug Julian out from under a snowdrift. I yelled his name, telling him to wake up. He was unconscious from hypothermia, his face a bloodless, waxy white. Panic seized me. My hands trembled as I brushed the snow off him and wrapped him in an emergency thermal blanket. I unzipped my own parka, pulling his frigid hands into my armpits to warm them. I kept calling his name, asking if he could hear me. I had called for rescue as soon as the weather changed, but the storm was delaying them. Couldn't just wait. Gritting my teeth, I had grabbed my emergency pack and headed up the mountain myself. Looking at Julian's still form, a sharp pain lanced through my eyes, and tears began to fall. I was filled with regret. I knew this was going to happen. I should have stopped him from the very beginning, not let it all play out just to score some meaningless points. I was a selfish, terrible person. No wonder he hated me. His hands remained stubbornly cold. I was so scared I could barely breathe. I doubled over in anguish, collapsing onto his chest, tears blurring my vision. "I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I'm so sorry. Brother, wake up. I'm scared. Please." Just before my vision went completely dark, I saw the lights of the rescue snowcat. Bandages covered my eyes, an uncomfortable, pressing weight. I instinctively raised a hand to rub them, but my wrist was caught by a large, warm hand. A deep voice spoke. "Don't touch." The slightly rough pad of a thumb brushed against the corner of my eyebrow. I flinched away. Julian's voice came again, asking if it was still uncomfortable. I pulled my hand back and shook my head. I heard the sound of a chair being pulled across the floor. Julian had sat down by my bed. The quiet tapping of a keyboard began. He was working. He seemed intensely focused, but every so often, he would break the silence to ask if I wanted some water or if I was hungry. I sat propped up against the pillows, afraid to disturb him, just picking at the edge of the blanket. His phone rang. I heard him stand up. A dry hand rested on the crown of my head, ruffling my hair with gentle pressure. I heard him say he was stepping out to take a call and that I should call for him if I needed anything. His footsteps receded. I froze, a new anxiety creeping in. Julian had been forced to stay with me in this hospital room for so long. He had touched me countless times while taking care of me. Just reaching for his coat had cost me favorability points. What must the damage be now? I frantically queried the system. "System, what's the number now?" The system made a sound like a scoff. "Wait until you're better. You can see for yourself then." That was it. I was doomed. The anxiety intensified. When I was discharged, Marcus made a special trip to the hospital. He was like a good-natured older brother, clapping me on the shoulder and pulling me into a one-armed hug. He called me a good kid and said he owed me dinner for saving Julian. I blinked, unaccustomed to praise. A faint blush crept up my cheeks, and I mumbled my thanks. Marcus ruffled my hair, exclaiming how well-behaved I was. I couldn't help but think that this must be how normal brothers interacted. Standing by the car, Julian's mouth set into a hard, cold line. His voice dropped several degrees. "Caleb, come here." In the car, Julian pulled a pair of sunglasses from the glove compartment and handed them to me. He said to put them on, that the afternoon sun would be harsh on my eyes. I buried the lower half of my face in the collar of my jacket, using the dark lenses as a shield to sneak glances at him. He was wearing a dark gray casual sweater, his gaze fixed on the road ahead. His profile was clean and sharp. My eyes drifted upward to the space above his head. 0. After we returned from Aspen, no matter what I did, Julian's favorability score never changed. It didn't increase, but thankfully it didn't decrease either. I asked the system again what a score of 0 represented. The system replied that a random person would have a favorability score of 10 for a stray dog on the street. I waited. The system seemed to be slacking. As long as it's not negative, it's fine. It's not like you can eat it or spend it. You'd be better off getting a few more points on your exams so you don't embarrass me. I buried myself in my textbooks, finally tasting the bitterness of academic effort. Since distancing myself from Leo and taking my classes seriously, my relationships with my classmates had improved. After a late-night study session, a group of us crowded around a pizza truck parked just outside the campus gates. I bit into a slice of hot, greasy pepperoni, its crust perfectly charred, when one of the guys beside me shouted excitedly that it was snowing. I looked up. Flurries danced in the air, a rare sight in our part of the country. A few of the guys bumped into each other, laughing together in the warm glow of the food truck. Through the steam rising from my pizza, I saw him. A street lamp cast a halo of amber light, and in the space between light and shadow stood a tall, lean figure. I ran over, a puff of white vapor escaping my lips. I asked him why he was here. On impulse, I held up my half-eaten slice. "Want some?" The moment the words were out, I realized my mistake and started to pull my hand back. But Julian leaned down and took a bite. The angle cast a shadow over his features, but the corner of his mouth quirked up slightly. He said he was just passing by and decided to pick me up. With that, he took the backpack that was slipping off my shoulder. I followed him back to the car, watching the red number flicker for a second. It remained at 0. I stuffed the rest of the pizza into my mouth, not sure what I had been hoping for. Julian only ever returned to the old family estate on New Year's Eve. Because of the shares Mr. Asher had left me, the other relatives there treated me with thinly veiled resentment. As I got older, I stopped going. In previous years, I was never short of rowdy friends to spend the holidays with. This year, for the first time, I was alone. I peered out my window. In the yard next door, someone was setting off fireworks. The system's voice suddenly appeared. "Wanna play some games?" My eyes lit up with a spark of my old self. "Can I? Just for tonight." In the SSS VIP booth of the city's largest esports lounge, I let out a string of curses, a litany of frustration mirrored perfectly by the system. In the next moment, my character died on screen. Again. 16 losses in a row. The system raged. "You are useless." I rubbed my nose sheepishly, mumbling that it had been too long and my skills were rusty. I tossed the controller aside, put on a headset, and tried to salvage my dignity. I announced we were switching games, that it was time for my triumphant comeback. When I finally stumbled out of the lounge, my steps unsteady, it was the dead of night. I passed a small convenience store and saw they were selling fireworks. A jolt of excitement went through me. My father used to play with these with me when I was little. Not Mr. Asher, but my real father, a blurry figure in my memory. My phone was dead, so I traded my expensive watch for a huge pile of them, stuffing them into every pocket. I found a quiet spot by the river and set them all off, a barrage of pops and crackles. I laughed out loud, a feeling of pure exhilaration washing over me. Jean. I threw my head back and my gaze collided with Julian's. He was standing on the riverbank, and I had no idea how long he'd been there. He strode toward me quickly, reached out, and pulled up the hood of my down jacket, cinching it tight around my face. His expression was dark. "Why didn't you answer your phone? You didn't reply to my texts. Running around all night." Hearing the hint of what sounded like genuine concern and helplessness in his voice, I was momentarily stunned. I explained that my phone had died and I hadn't done it on purpose. Julian sighed and took my hand, leading me back up the bank. "Let's go home. I had the housekeeper make you some sweet dessert soup." The warmth of his hand felt real. I glanced up at the glaring 0 above his head. I sniffed, my nose red from the cold, and widened my slightly teary eyes. "It's not real. Don't believe it." The car's heating was on full blast, a comforting warmth that made me drowsy. Julian opened the passenger door and reached in to catch me as my head drooped forward. His palm covered half my face. His thumb moved unconsciously, stroking from the corner of my eye, down my flushed cheek, to the edge of my lips. So soft. His fingers tightened slightly. I sensed the unfamiliar pressure and my lips parted obediently. As if bewitched, his fingertip pressed forward, an insistent invasion, until it met the wet, soft tip of my tongue. A small, uneasy sound escaped my throat. Julian's eyes snapped shut for a moment, and he suppressed a ragged breath. He patted my cheek gently. "Caleb, wake up. We're home. I had a dream. I dreamt that after Mr. Asher passed away, I was always scared and alone in the vast mansion. I would cry for Julian every day, insisting he hold me. Only when I was clinging to him like a koala bear did I feel safe." I groggily opened my eyes, sensing the familiar scent of his cologne. In a panic, I wrapped my arms and legs around him, pressing myself tightly against his body. I mumbled fearfully, "Brother, hold me. Why aren't you holding me?" The sudden closeness made Julian's body go rigid for a second. The heat from him was intoxicating. One of his hands slowly cupped the back of my neck while the other tightened its grip, and I was lifted completely into his arms, with no space left between us. He lowered his head, his sharp jawline brushing against the soft skin of my neck, sending a shiver through me. Before my final exams, the university held a mandatory parent-teacher conference. I had tossed the notice in the trash, but Julian still showed up on time. He was even kept behind by my advisor for a private meeting. I squatted by a flower bed, bored, and secretly pulled out my phone to play a game. Soon, a few of my classmates gathered around. "Hold the line. Push. Oh my God. Caleb, could you play any more like a bot?" When Julian came out, his eyes immediately found me in the center of the small crowd. My head was down, revealing a sliver of pale neck. My eyes, wide and almond-shaped, were fixed on the screen with intense concentration. After a chorus of groans from my friends, my face fell in defeat, dark hair tumbling over my forehead. He looked both pathetic and adorable. Julian's gaze shifted to a classmate's hand resting on my shoulder. The tip of his tongue unconsciously pressed against the inside of his cheek. An eyesore. Stressed before exams, I broke out in a series of canker sores. I had no appetite and felt completely drained. Julian tilted my chin up, carefully examining the ulcers in my mouth. He frowned as he applied some medication, noting that it was a little better than yesterday. He closed the first aid kit and then circled my wrist with his fingers, weighing it. "You've lost weight. I'll have the cook make you something easy to eat." I lay listlessly on the sofa and mumbled an affirmative. My mind was a jumble of the study notes Julian had helped me organize. I was on the verge of sleep when Julian flipped me over, an exasperated smile on his face. "If you're tired, go lie down for a bit." I dozed off. When I awoke, the housekeeper had already prepared a meal. I slowly went upstairs to call Julian. My hand was still raised to knock when I heard his voice from the slightly ajar door. "Yes, we can start preparing. The shares. Nothing else matters. Wait until after his exams." The image of the unchanging favorability score flashed in my mind. A chill spread through my limbs, turning them to ice. The private room at the club was a cacophony of noise, like a herd of wild animals. My phone buzzed incessantly in my pocket. I pulled it out to a string of missed calls and messages. "Julian, text me when the party's over. I'll pick you up. Julian, you can drink but not too much, understand? Julian, it's getting late. Isn't it over yet? Julian, why aren't you replying? Julian, answer your phone." He didn't care. He didn't care if I drank, if I stayed out all night. It was all a performance to deceive me. I let out a cold laugh and threw the phone across the room. I grabbed a classmate and started drinking with a reckless abandon. Leo appeared from somewhere in the crowd, his face pale. He anxiously snatched the bottle from my hand and pulled me up from the sofa. Caleb, you're drunk. I'll take you home. The room spun. I angrily pushed him away. Get off me. Don't touch me. Why is everything always about Julian? But Leo was insistent, forcing me toward the door. As soon as it opened, I was pulled into a solid embrace. I struggled to lift my head. Julian. I was bundled into the back of his car. The confined space was filled with his scent. He brushed the sweat-damp hair from my forehead, his tone a mixture of anger and restraint. You never answer your phone or texts. You just got over being sick and now you're drinking this much. You're going to have a headache tomorrow. Julian? My voice was slurred. Julian captured my wrist, his grip firm. He seemed to be teasing me. Yes? Not even calling me brother anymore? Brother? The word was a needle piercing every nerve. The soup poured down the drain. The flicker of disgust when I touched him. The zero favorability. That phone call from behind his door. All of it twisted into a blade in my heart. My throat closed up, unable to draw in air. My chest heaved violently as a choked sob escaped me. Julian's expression changed instantly. He decisively cupped the back of my neck, forcing my head up. Caleb, breathe. Deep breaths. After gasping in a few ragged breaths, I went limp in his arms. A weak whisper escaped my lips. Don't. Julian held me tighter, a profound sense of unease washing over him. Caleb, what are you saying? Don't touch. Julian leaned in closer, trying to hear me. I enunciated each word with excruciating effort. Don't you touch me. Julian froze. I began to struggle violently, my nails leaving red marks on his neck. I need to get out of here. I scrambled out of his embrace. Julian snapped out of his stupor. His large frame descended upon me, pinning my arms and legs, immobilizing me. His brow was furrowed deeply as he tried to soothe the frantic person in his arms. Caleb, what's wrong? It's me. I'm here. Don't be afraid. I couldn't move. I couldn't escape. I broke down completely, sobbing, hysterically resisting his proximity. My voice a high-pitched scream of surcom. Get away from me. Don't touch me. You're a liar. You've always been lying to me. You hate me, but you still pretend to be a good brother. You threw away the soup I made. You threw away my gift. Liar. Liar. At my words, Julian's body shuddered violently. The man who was always composed and self-possessed showed a panic I had never seen before. He instinctively clutched me tighter. It's not like that, Caleb. Listen to me, let me explain. That was all in the past. I was wrong, it was my fault. But it's different now. How could I hate you? I wish I could keep you with me every second of every day. You have no idea how terrified I am when I can't find you, or how happy I am just to see you. The boy was crying, hurting. A sharp, remorseful pain stabbed at Julian's heart. Yet perversely, a dark excitement surged within him. His throat worked convulsively. He moved closer as he spoke, until his lips brushed against the boy's tear-stained eyelids, greedily licking at the salty trails. He moved lower, parting those slightly open lips. In that instant, an electric shock exploded from the tip of his tongue, sending a tremor down his spine. In the quiet car, there was only the sound of frantic, ragged breathing and urgent, wet noises. I was a passive recipient. Pain. Julian trembled with excitement, his voice a demonic whisper of seduction. Where does it hurt? Let brother take a look. Okay? My reactions were slow, but I obediently opened my mouth, revealing the tip of my tongue, which I had bitten. The demon smiled. Good boy. Let me kiss it better. I woke up the next morning with a blank mind. My eyes were swollen shut, and I had a splitting headache. My mouth hurt, too. I frantically prodded the system. What happened? What happened? Why is the favorability score 3 question marks? It's probably a bug. What? Panicked. What is the favorability score now? Did it plummet to question marks because I went drinking last night and reverted to my old ways? You don't remember last night? Of course I remembered. Class party, got wasted, Leo brought me home. I remembered it perfectly. Case closed. The system was silent for a moment. Then it let out a sound like a cold scoff. It didn't drop. It's fine. There was a distinct teeth-grinding quality to its tone. Before my mediocre exam results were released, Julian left on a business trip. He would be overseas for 3 months. Twice a day, like clockwork, he would call. Caleb, let me know which university you choose. My assistant will handle the application. I'm sorry I can't be there for your orientation. You can go out with friends, but no staying over and no drinking, you hear me? I nodded and agreed. On the other end of the line, Julian's breathing was heavy. His voice took on a more serious tone. You be good. Wait for me to come back. There are some things we need to talk about slowly. After hanging up, I looked at the brochures for 3 local universities on my desk. They were all close by, but I had no intention of applying to any of them. My new university was in the Midwest, far away, a new environment, new friends. And Ethan. He was the youngest associate professor at my new school. He was also my biological brother. After my mother took me to live with the Ashers, we had never seen each other again. He had lived with our grandmother after our father remarried. Here, there was no Julian, no favorability score. It had been less than a month, but it felt like a lifetime. I had even gotten used to the thin mattress that squeaked with every movement. Ethan brought me some homemade sausage from our grandmother. I was walking back to my dorm, holding the insulated container, when I realized how dim the old streetlights were. They played tricks on the eyes. For a moment, it was as if I saw Julian, leaning against a black sedan, the ember of a cigarette glowing and fading between his fingers. In my small apartment off campus, Julian sat on the sofa as if he owned the place. His voice was soft, dangerously calm. Changed your major. Changed your number. Disappeared. Even gave up your shares. I sat stiffly in a nearby chair, chewing on my dry lip. I told him quietly that those were Asher family shares. They didn't belong to me. Isn't this what you wanted? Julian straightened up, pretending to consider it. He nodded in agreement. Then he tossed a file onto the coffee table, his tone all business. Since you want to cut ties with the Asher family, we should probably settle the accounts. I hesitantly opened the file. It was an itemized bill for all my years of recklessness. Gambling on horses, buying cars, extravagant tips, legal fees for getting me out of trouble, page after page of dense text, including a ludicrously large sum for emotional damages, all adding up to a final number with an obscene amount of zeros. I had never seen so many zeros outside of a spreadsheet. 10 of me sold off couldn't cover this debt. Julian was ruthless. My vision swam. Julian stood up, looking down at me. His hand went to his belt, unbuckling it, slowly pulling the leather strap free. A cold smile touched his lips. I'll show you how to pay me back. I was wrapped in a soft bathrobe, still damp. My mind a stampede of 1,000 wild thoughts, trampling my brain into a forced shutdown. Julian did that to me? Had the laws of physics ceased to exist? Had biology collapsed? Was Newton dead? Julian was shirtless, his torso a testament to disciplined wealth. His hand slipped under the hem of my robe, its heat searing. His fingers traced the bite mark he'd left on my inner thigh. I snapped my legs shut, my entire body turning the color of a boiled lobster. I stammered, "We're brothers." Julian let out a cold laugh, a storm gathering in his eyes. "Darling, you're the one who wanted to cut ties." He knelt on the bed, the muscles in his thighs flexing. His hand clamped onto my jaw, and under my terrified gaze, he ripped open my robe. "Now it's your turn, darling. Open your mouth." My tears fell like broken strings of pearls. Julian was a bully. I ran a fever, half from shock and half from fear. In a state of semi-consciousness, I heard someone enter the room. It was Julian. He felt my forehead, then gently wiped my skin with a warm, damp towel. After he was done, he didn't leave. I could feel his presence looming over me. Then, his lips pressed against the shell of my ear. My heart stuttered. I didn't dare to wake up. After a long time, he began to speak to himself. I am a liar. I lied to you and I lied to myself. Growing up, I had nothing, but you had everything. Everyone loved you, even that old man, Andrew Asher. Why were you so happy all the time? So disgustingly, wonderfully happy it made people want to destroy you. So I started to lie to you. But Caleb, why did you have to come save me on that mountain? Why did you cry so hard? No one had ever been scared for me. No one had ever shed a tear for me. It was such a strange feeling. I could have kept lying forever. But you, since you saved me, why couldn't you keep saving me? Why did you run away? Do you know how terrified I was when I couldn't find you? I couldn't sleep at night, afraid you'd get into an accident, afraid you'd meet someone bad, afraid you wouldn't want me anymore. Whether you fear me or hate me, you are never getting rid of me in this life. A long, weary sigh followed. My heart twisted into a knot. He was the one who had hurt me, yet he sounded so pitiful. If I had dared to open my eyes and look at him then, I would have seen a hunter, patient and restrained, laying out his bait, waiting for his soft-hearted prey to walk into the trap. Julian's arrival had been a forceful, mind-scrambling whirlwind. But then he was gone again. Only a steady stream of anonymous packages arrived. A key to a new apartment, boxes of pastries, a scarf, a hat, and a share transfer agreement. Just before the winter break, I received a call from Julian. His voice was hoarse, punctuated by coughs. He sounded terrible. Caleb, when does your break start? I'll come pick you up. Let's go home together, okay? I looked down at the snow I was kicking into messy piles. I told him I had already promised Ethan I'd go home with him to spend Christmas with our grandmother. There was a long silence on the line. Then Julian's voice came through the receiver. Okay, go. Have fun. After Christmas dinner, Grandma went to bed early, leaving just Ethan and me to stay up. He noticed I was distracted and sent me to my room to rest. I stared out the window at the vast, snowy landscape. It was always snowing heavily here, not like the thin, fleeting snow I was used to. Suddenly, I wanted some of the sweet dessert soup Julian used to have made for me. The system's voice appeared out of nowhere. If you want it, order it. I thought, but just do what your heart tells you to do. What if you walk outside and suddenly drop dead? You'll be filled with regret. I silently retorted that it sounded more like he was cursing me. The system's tone was final, like someone dusting off their hands after a job well done. My mission is complete. The rest of your journey is your own. Goodbye, Caleb Vance. In kindergarten, all the other kids had cool, three-syllable names. So I picked a simple character, Vance, and unofficially added it to my own, changing Caleb Asher to Caleb Vance Asher in my head. I was squatting by Julian's front door. After a while, I sat down. I had been so thorough when I left that I had even deleted my fingerprints from the security system. I leaned against the cold wood, pulling my scarf tighter. Julian came home as night fell, a chill clinging to him that was colder than the winter wind. And then he stopped. His broad shoulders trembled uncontrollably. He felt his heart swell, fit to burst, an overwhelming joy radiating from his very bones that made him want to laugh out loud. So good, so obedient. You came back on your own. Julian walked forward, each step light, as if not to startle the person before him. He slowly crouched down, his gaze burning as he looked at the face half buried in knees. A satisfied smile spread across his lips. Welcome home, my darling. I woke up in Julian's arms. He was carrying me like a child, one step at a time, up the stairs. I wrapped my arms around his shoulders, burying my face in his neck. I mumbled drowsily that I couldn't get in, that my fingerprints had been deleted. Julian's arms tightened. He turned his head and pressed an affectionate, possessive kiss to my temple. It's okay. We'll add a new one. I became a system after I died. looking at the 18-year-old innocent face of another version of myself. Well, this kid was luckier than I was. At least he didn't have to tear everything apart with Julian, fight a war of attrition until he died without even understanding why. But what the hell was this development? This was obscene. Actually, what I never told the kid was that the favorability score really had bugged out. There was a delay. On the night he got drunk, this world's Julian's favorability had skyrocketed. 0, 19, 39, 69, 89, 99, question mark, question mark, question mark. Whatever. Being screwed was better than being screwed over. What did it matter if it was love or not? As long as it was real, I could accept it. That night, I knew it was time for me to go, to end my life full of deceit. I just never expected to wake up again. So I hadn't died after all. Back then, I was set up, lost everything I had, and was saddled with enormous debt. The loan sharks broke my left leg and left me for dead in a filthy alley. As I lay there, dying, I saw Julian's back as he turned and walked away without a second glance. When I woke up again, I was a system. Looking back now, it seems Julian did save my worthless life in the end. After a lifetime of entanglement with him, I was left with nothing but a crippled leg. I've made my peace with the past. Now, watching the car window roll down, I can look at Julian Asher's face, hold a gas nozzle, and say with a calm smile, "Fill it up, sir?" He's awake. I looked at the text message from my subordinate. He'd been in a coma for a year and a half. He woke up today. I replied, "Keep an eye on him." My fingers tapped on the polished surface of my desk. Keep an eye on him for what? He had nothing left. Following my subordinate's report, I drove to the most dilapidated part of the city. He was renting a ground-floor garage here. Every day he went out to do odd jobs. In his free time, he'd squat under a tree and watch the old men play chess. When one of them tried to take back a move and they started arguing, he'd watch the spectacle with great amusement, fanning himself with a cheap plastic fan, his eyes crinkling at the corners when he smiled. That face, it was a gift from nature. No one who saw it could dislike it. Even that old bastard Andrew Asher had been fiercely protective of him, leaving behind several contingencies to restrain me even after his death. Sometimes I think this is his true nature, warm and harmless. For someone like that to enter the filth of the Asher family home, it was an eyesore. All those years of profligate indulgence, the hatred and desire, it was all something I had forced upon him. After watching the old men argue, he slowly went to collect his laundry. The shorts he wore revealed long, pale legs. If you looked closely, you could see his left leg was slightly thinner than his right. If he walked too quickly, he would limp. When he stood on his toes, he was always unsteady. One visit became 2, then 3, then 4. It became a new obsession. Until one day he ran out, furious, and started pounding on my car window. He screamed at me, asking what the hell was wrong with me, why I was watching him all day. What more could I possibly want from him? He warned me that if I came back again, he would pour dog's blood on my car. He was so angry his face was flushed, brighter than the sunset behind him. I let out a soft laugh and extinguished the cigarette between my fingers. I slowly pushed open the car door. Yes, I think there really is something wrong with me.